Boy am I glad this one's out the bag. Hell, if we didn't find out soon, I was absolutely going to spill it by accident, even more than I already did. So, for those unaware, in an event taking place this evening, seemingly in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, creators were invited for a first look at Payday 3's newest pair of heisters. This has been announced via Twitter, or X as it's now known, with what seems to be a live-action bank robbery taking place, to finally give us the reveals of the new female heisters. Yes, one of the new characters for Payday 3 is a returner, in Joy, and the other is a brand new heister known as Pearl. First things first, many of us have been aware of Joy, at least since the initial press beta, where you could find her name in the credits alongside a set of suits specifically naming her within Payday 3. I thought it was worth keeping as a surprise, but it seems the entire gaming world conspired against this one, making it the worst kept secret in all of Payday, as far as I can remember. That said, you've probably all had enough time to wrap your heads around the young Japanese-American hacker's addition into Payday 3, so let's start with the entirely unknown quantity, Pearl. Pearl is apparently an expert con artist and infiltrator who's as comfortable running street cons as she is rubbing elbows with New York's rich and famous. My initial assumption is she is a New Yorker, and I have to say, much like the Core 4, her outfit is absolutely pristine. Going for all white leather from head to toe with a black undershirt, to pair with a delicate pearl necklace to complete the look. As for her mask, I'm not completely sold on this one, going for more of a spooky clown vibe that doesn't necessarily match her unmasked aura. The green and red is highly evocative of Clover, so I would have liked to have something a little more unique for her, but I'm sure it'll grow on me with time. Already, just from her appearance, I'm salivating at the lore we're going to see around this new heister. Yes, I said lore, nothing less savoury. Although I have to admit, the design guys have gone to great lengths to present Pearl as the most outwardly appearance-conscious member of the gang, with her slit-back bleach blonde hair and youthful appearance. This plays nicely into her role as a bit of a con woman, using these looks to manipulate those around her into underestimating what she can do. I think she's a really exciting addition to the roster and will probably be a favourite of many ex-Clover and Sydney mains if they don't return early on in the game's lifecycle. Moving on though, we still have to talk about Joy, even if this has been common knowledge for about 2 months at this point. Her bio for this game reads, Joy is a genius hacker and security expert. She has a complete lack of respect for authority and a twisted sense of humour, but in a heist, she's all aces. This suggests her distinct lack of a value for life, assigning point values to kills might be returning, which is a shame, but at least in this iteration we don't hear anything about her being a gamer. Her new outfit takes on much of the original's colour scheme, which I appreciate, but she's now matured slightly and adapted to life in the big city with a 3/4 length coat and business casual suit underneath. She's also wearing some jewellery this time around, with what looks to be a jade necklace. Her mask is almost identical to how it appeared in Payday 2, using the Nintendo Switch colour scheme LEDs, which was actually an excellent design concept in the first place. I wonder if it's still going to flick through and reference some of the missing heisters from Payday 2 in the new game. As for her unmasked appearance, she does look a little older in Payday 3, which makes sense given how young she was when she first joined the crew over 5 years ago, and has grown her hair out into a bob instead of the old short and tousled look she used to rock. This screenshot in particular doesn't do her much justice, but overall I really like the mature appearance she's rocking and hope that translates into a calmer, more level-headed personality in-game. I would also like to point out that Joy's voice actress will be returning from Payday 2, which I'm happy to see is setting a precedent of securing voice actor continuity wherever possible. At this point, I don't believe we know anything about Pearl's voice actress, so all I can do is wish them luck in the role and hope they absolutely nail it. I've got to say, top work by the cosplayers out there in Brooklyn. You guys have already done an amazing job of bringing these characters to life, and I can't wait to see them in-game. That's the initial look at these two new characters complete, but next I think it's worth discussing if this is what we were expecting before launch. For me, Pearl was a no-brainer. We wanted more female characters in the game, and adding a new character to the roster had to happen. Joy, on the other hand, genuinely took me by surprise. Not only was she originally introduced as a Switch exclusive, hell that's even where her name and mask comes from, she's never seemed like the most popular heister in the game, even out of the fairest sex, given her late addition to the crew, fairly cheesy gamer voice lines, and lack of tangible role within the story. Don't get me wrong, I've always liked her design and think her voice work was pretty good in Payday 2, but she didn't have a brilliant script to work with, and struggled to find her place within the crew, which was always a shame to me, given she was introduced as Locke, a very major character's protege, with an incredibly unique perk deck, playstyle, and background as natural hacker. There was a lot of wasted potential there, which we sort of started to see during the City of Gold campaign, wherein her background ties to the Chinese triad in San Francisco was finally fleshed out. This probably should have been the first clue that Joy would be a relevant character for the series moving forward, although I think everyone overlooked it at the time. As it stands, I still think there's a lot of potential for a character in Payday 3, especially with Locke still amongst those apparently unaccounted for. She's likely missing a mentor, and one of the most keen for revenge out of the entire gang. I think if they do right by her narratively, she could actually have some of the best motivation in the crew to return to a life of crime, being the youngest and most ambitious in the gang, with the potential for a revenge plot hanging over her if Marina Top Hat is right and Locke's sadly no longer with us. At the same time, the team behind her addition are going to have a lot of work to do in order to flesh her out and have us playing her over some of the most iconic characters in the entire franchise. And I already know Sydney, Bonnie and Clovermains will be despairing at this point. As for the characters I predicted, Dragon and Houston, I was looking real smart when they started dropping hints in the dev diaries of Houston and Dragomir fronting the Do Time to Get Time community event. However, it seems they really are still missing. But I'd still have them somewhere on your bingo card to be added at some point in Payday 3's lifecycle. A Houston breakout sounds deliciously tempting, and Dragon evidently remains willing to work with the Starbreeze team even if he doesn't have a direct role within the crew. Just about anything could happen though, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Jacket return as a guest character in the months to come, as well as some large new additions instead of repeating the roster from Payday 2 all over again. Anyway, speculation is all well and good, but first we need to see Joy and Pearl in game to have any idea of how the additional non-core 4 characters will be handled. I'm hoping they're both brilliant, and based on what we've seen already, I'm thinking they're absolutely worthwhile additions. Surely, that is the final big announcement though, before launch, so I can go back to making Payday 2 videos, as I have quite a lot of unfinished business with that game before Payday 3 comes out. Thanks a lot for watching. Give me your thoughts and feelings on these 2 new additions in the comments below. Were they still a surprise to anyone, or had I managed to ruin it last week at Gamescom? Take care, I'll see you all in the next video. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.